if you wanted to become a striker at Manchester United, there's a few pieces of criteria that you need to fulfill. A, you'd need to cost about £8.3 zillion. B, you'd need to be okay with bringing your own packed lunch because their owners sacked all of the dinner ladies.
Hello, I like money.
But what's this? Goals are optional. Well, they must be if they employ this geezer. This is Rasmus Hojlund, Scandinavian striker, tall, blonde, and a youngster. United saw Manchester City sign Erling Haaland and decided to make their own. Only the 3D printer malfunctioned halfway through, and now he's got all the goal-scoring credentials of a quadruple amputee. It's been 2 years, and it looks like it's fully over for Rasmus Hojlund at Manchester United. Some are even calling him the worst footballer they've ever seen. But are we being too harsh? Is that really true? Is Rasmus Hojlund really that bad? Yeah, I can't lie. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the... Before we start this one, once again, it is always massively important if you guys do enjoy the video, please do hit the like button. You don't understand how much it helps with the flipping, everyone talks about it, the algorithm and all that jazz. But just making sure these videos are seen, I can keep making videos for you guys. 7,000 likes and I will apply to become Manchester United's new striker. I've literally got the email written out already. I'm gonna go in there and compromise them from the inside. They don't even need more compromising the more I think about it. Now, it's fair to say this season has been a little bit below average for Rasmus. Fine, go and get the stats. 10 goals doesn't seem all that bad in all competitions. It kind of does, especially when you say that he's played 51 games. But it gets even worse when you consider that 4 of those goals came in the Europa League group stages against Victoria Plzen and Bodo Glimt combined. Bodo Glimt, who did in fairness get to the semi-finals, but then got absolutely battered by the team that United lost to in the final. And that one of his league goals came against Leicester City. Now, I'm not trying to say that goals against Leicester City don't count, but goals against Leicester City don't count. More concerning, though, realistically, was a 17-game run in all competitions in a row where he didn't score. As a striker, I don't care who you're playing for. Genuinely, that is catastrophic. I know he said at the start that in the job description, like, scoring goals was optional, but fucking hell, mate, put a little bit of effort in. And things didn't get too much better for him when himself and Manchester United managed to provide the trophyless with a trophy, as the Red Devils were beaten 1-0 in the Europa League final by Tottenham, rolling over and allowing themselves to have their bellies tickled by Ange Postecoglou's beard hair. He's a good boy. Now, it was only really when Spurs decided to deploy all of their defenders, all of their midfielders, all of their attackers, Ange Postecoglou himself and anybody who happened to be on shift at Tottenham's club shop as defenders all at the same time, that Manchester United really created anything going forward here. And by that point, Rasmus Hojlund had already been hooked. Zirkzee immediately came on and already looked like more of a competent forward in about 16 seconds. And this is Joshua Zirkzee we're talking about. He did have a header acrobatically cleared off the line by Mickey van der Veen, which really proved that nothing was going his way. But other than that, it was pretty lackluster, in fairness, from all of Manchester United's forwards, barring Amad Diallo, all of them panicking as soon as they even witnessed the final third. Darwin Núñez was at least applauding whilst watching at home on television as a similar striking display was put in. Meanwhile, I was viewing in glee, realising I was witnessing not just a hate watch, but a hate season. I spoke more about Manchester United as a whole in FTW that came out yesterday, if you have missed that one. But genuinely, I think at this point, any of them even scoring past their own kids in their back gardens might be a mission. The club is a mess. To call it a rebuild is disrespectful to builders everywhere. And it isn't just Rasmus Hojlund's fault, but that is who we're here to talk about, so let's get back to him. Because I'm not gonna lie, half the time he's stepping off the pitch, yeah, and his Fitbit is fully charged. 27 steps completed maximum. This is bad levels of, like, goal scoring records. And the crazy thing is, Ruben Amorim decided he was going to be completely reliant on a man who takes antihistamines anytime he goes through one-on-one on goal, because he then decided to loan out all of the rest of United's forwards. He said he'd rather have his 67-year-old goalkeeping coach than Marcus Rashford, but I think genuinely at this point he'd be better off playing his 67-year-old goalkeeping coach over Rasmus Hojlund. Actually put Sean Millis up front, he'll do a better job. And trust me, I know all about bad strikers. It's like watching Speed Up Top during a charity match, but with less barking, I imagine, and like less pace as well. Imagine being Bruno Fernandes after playing Rasmus through, him shooting over, and then Bruno missing out on a 27th assist of the season. The only reason he scored against Leicester was because he was feeling threatened. Ruben Amorim was genuinely considering bringing Ruud van Nistelrooy out of retirement on the other bench. When Rasmus Hojlund gets the ball, Bruno Fernandes turns around and starts thinking about the other team counter-attacking. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm starting to think it might not even be over for me as a footballer. footballer. If you can play for Manchester United for hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, yeah, and be putting in these sorts of numbers, I can do a job as a backup goalkeeper, because then I don't have to move around as much, you know, the knee injury and that. I cannot stress this enough yet. Manchester United scouts looked at his birth certificate, saw that it looked like Hojlund, and decided to sign him. United fans are praying for Anthony Martial to return back. That's the levels that we've got to. Even Rio Ferdinand couldn't lie about putting him into his Europa League combined 11. To be fair, you're in a Europa League final and your striking options are what? Dominic Solanke, Rasmus Hojlund, and Richarlison. I'd have just switched the phone off, bro. And all of this depression for the low price of £72 million. But you know what it is, yeah? The problem is not just that he's not scoring. There's plenty of strikers that struggle to put the ball in the back of the net at big football clubs, big institutions like Manchester United, like Liverpool, like Arsenal, like Tottenham, like Chelsea, like all of the big clubs in England have had a problem with goal-scoring strikers, I would say, in the last 5 years. This isn't necessarily new. The problem is, it's not just scoring, it's his all-round play. There was a video that went viral this week of Andre Onana pulling off maybe the worst footballing touch in history. And Rasmus Hojlund is the first person to laugh.
What are you laughing at, you fucking fool?
How dare you, brother? I see you do this every weekend. The ball just does not stick to this man whatsoever. He could slap 7 Pritt sticks on his right boot and I swear down it's still ending up 6 yards away. It's like he plays football in his Crocs. I mean, a striker that isn't the greatest, that trapping the ball isn't the worst thing in the world. At the end of the day, he's big and physical. Theoretically, you should be able to win aerial duels as well, so it's not the end of the world. But it is the end of the world when you're not putting the ball in the back of the net and when you're kind of not really doing anything else either. Like, if we take a look at stats in terms of just everything, you know, defensively, in terms of pressing maybe as well, this guy's not doing anything. I mean, in terms of tackles and tackles won, tackles in any third of the pitch, he's in some of the lower percentiles. Interceptions, he's nowhere. Dribblers tackled, he's nowhere. Challengers lost, he's actually doing really well in that, but that's a bad thing, so you don't really want to. So not only is he not scoring, he's not able to control the ball and actually bring in the rest of his attack. You know, he can't do brilliant link-up play, and he's not even really doing anything from a pressing perspective or from a winning the ball back perspective high up the pitch either. Like, there's only so much you can kind of back him and be like, oh, I feel bad for him, when he's not actually offering anything at all. But what I did do, you know, was naturally, I went back to see what he was doing at Atalanta. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, did I watch him much in Serie A? Not really. I don't get a chance to watch Italian football that often, which is kind of sad because it always seems like it's a bonkers division. But like, I made notes on him, and the first thing is that he's actually like a very solid athlete in terms of his pace and his actual, you know, size, power, strength, those names, those words that get thrown about all the time. He's got an abundance of it, especially pace. Quite a few, like a lot of instances for Atalanta where he's running through the heart of a defense and outpacing centre-backs and outpacing them pretty easily as well. Because again, he's quick, he's very, very quick, but he's also got a bit about him. Kind of built like a small shed, you know what I'm saying? So there's ability there to shrug off defenders or even go around them. There was definite promise, but there was also a lot of, like, there was definite rough edges as well. Like, again, that natural dribbling capability or the ball just coming to him to feet and him being able to trap it and then go, or trap it and bring someone else in, was never really necessarily something that he was that good at there as well. There wasn't the maddest amount of dribbling ability either. Not that you need that massively as a striker, especially if you're more of a poacher or advanced forward like he is. Upon looking back, I wasn't that surprised that they were interested in him. I think the biggest surprise really is maybe that they actually did buy him and that they spent £72 million on him. And the problem is, that's not his fault. He can't control that. There's no way he's worth that. That's just a fact. We've seen that in 2 years now of football. And really, even retrospectively, we can go back and see that the fact that there was those rough edges there means that he wasn't worth it then either. I get it, you gotta pay quite a lot of money nowadays to sign a young striker that's got a bit of promise about him. But this guy scored, what, 9 goals in 32 league games for a probably performance-enhancing, drug-using Atalanta. It's hardly crazy impressive numbers there. He did grab like 9 goals in 18 for Sturm Graz in Austria after his move from Copenhagen. These aren't numbers that you should be spending £72 million on as a club like United. It just isn't, and I know, like, I mean, there's countless examples that we can give of Manchester United mismanaging their money, but this one, like, feels just so obvious and evident. Like, with Anthony, at least he was slapping up the Eredivisie. Hojlund looked good and looked like a prospect, but 72 mil is insane. Again, he can't control that. What he did do, actually, to be fair, was look pretty good for international, like, duty. Like, he looked good for his country. He scored quite a lot for Denmark, but how much can you read into that when the goals are coming against Kazakhstan and San Marino? Or I think he scored a hat-trick against Finland. Like, these are impressive things when he's like 18, 19, 20, like he is at Sturm Graz and Atalanta. They genuinely are, to be fair. So again, as I said, I completely understand Manchester United being interested, and I understand Manchester United deciding they want to buy him. But again, the price tag is what's crazy. That's the issue. The main problem for Rasmus is that he doesn't have any actual competition. He's the best that they can offer, and he's not good enough. He's probably, at this point, like, Rasmus Hojlund should be playing for Wolves, and that's not a disrespect to Wolves, but that's like classically looking at the footballing landscape in England, I'd say that's the level that he's at. And he's not better than Strand Larsen, to be honest with you, so he doesn't even start there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a young player who's done relatively well in Italy, right, for Atalanta, has put himself on the map with international appearances and performances, but has not been bought as a prospect at the age of like 20. He's been brought as, you need to save Manchester United Football Club. That's mental. That's insane. He doesn't have the minerals from an experience level to be able to do that. When Man City did the same with Erling Haaland at slightly older age, they were doing it because he had a lot of pedigree. This guy had scored probably about 483 goals for Borussia Dortmund. He'd smacked up everybody that he'd come across in the Champions League, like Man City, Real Madrid, Liverpool, whoever. He scored against everybody. You know what you're getting. Like, he was already a proven quantity. Rasmus Hojlund wasn't, and they spent more on Hojlund than City did on Haaland. There's other reasons why people have defended Rasmus, and I just want to say, I know, as usual in videos like this, I kind of, maybe it comes across as a bit of a scathing attack because I'm letting off jokes all over the gaff, but he seems like a nice, measured kid, yeah, and I don't wish the worst for him at all. He's got to leave Manchester United. He's got to go somewhere where there's not as much pressure. Maybe back to Italy. I know, like, Inter and Napoli are interested. Mate, if he gets that move, that's phenomenal based on how he's played in the Prem, to be honest with you, and I'd be happy for him. I think he'd achieve a lot more in Italy, and maybe where there's a little bit less pressure. There's going to be pressure at Napoli or Inter, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think United pressure is different to pressure at probably any other football club in the world, barring Real Madrid. So he's got to get out of there. A lot of people were defending him because there was no service, you know. United have just been arse generally, right? And that is a factor. This Manchester United team is categorically the worst Manchester United team that has ever existed. It is. And even when United were relegated in like 1947 or some shit, they had a better team than they do now, like, relative to everything else. This team is full of losers, and that's not Rasmus Hojlund's fault. He's not had the service at times, but that does run out after a year and a half, and it does run out when he still is actually missing big opportunities. And I think more crucially than that, he's not even finding himself in those opportunities. I think my main issue, I think, with Rasmus Hojlund is that I don't think he has the natural instinct to just be a poacher, a fox in the box in the area. There's a lot of times loose balls bobble around, or there's a run that needs to be made, and Rasmus, if you make that run, you're scoring, boss. And he doesn't make it. And I don't know whether that's a confidence thing. I don't know if that's just a general mental thing, or he's not anticipating things happening like around him, because that's probably one of the most crucial skills, I think, as a striker. I think it's probably more important, really, than actually just being a natural finisher, because you could be as much of a natural finisher as you want. If you're never in a position to score, you're not going to score any goals. And I feel like that's what he can be like a little bit. But another word I use there is confidence. I think he's a big confidence player. Some of these things that I'm seeing him do for Atalanta, yeah, he's trying to take people on. He might not score, but he's trying things that are a little bit creative, a little bit like, oh, whoa, you didn't have to do that, but I like the fact that you tried it, yeah. He's not doing that for Manchester United. The moral of the story is, do I think Rasmus Hojlund is that bad? I think he's been that bad this season. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the worst striking displays I've seen in a while, and I'm sure he knows that. He doesn't need FNG on YouTube to tell him that. It's not been good. It hasn't. And I think United have got to cash in now, or move him out on loan or something. Try and get him some confidence back, because he's not really thriving at United. He doesn't have that confidence, and I just don't think he's that top echelon of striker. But I'm not even sure, even during his youth career, you could say that that was laid out for him. I just think he's been thrusted into a situation like at Manchester United that is so dire. It's a football club that's so massive that are underperforming so hugely, and he's supposed to lead the line as like a 21-year-old. That is a hard job to do, and I'm not surprised that he hasn't been able to achieve it. So I wish him the best. I think he should, as I said, go Italy, go Germany, somewhere like that. If like Leipzig lost Šeško, go Leipzig or something. Signing like that would slap. Maybe Leipzig fans might not like that, but I'm just saying, like, that, I feel like he could do a job in a different country for a club like that. A team that's fighting for getting into the Champions League eventually potentially like Atalanta were, or that's, you know, prospering in the Europa League or something. But what do you make of this? Is it over for Rasmus Hojlund? Is his Manchester United career done? Can he recover this? Will we see a different Hojlund next season, or will we see Manchester United cashing in? Let me know down below in the comments section whatever your thoughts are. As I said at the start, I would massively appreciate it if you do hit that like button. It really does help me out. 7,000 likes is what we're aiming for here. And of course, at 750k subscribers, I'll be testing out the knee injury with a real life football video. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye. Me bumba clap, pussy bumba blood clap.